The winners of the annual Motoring Awards have been unveiled, with Tesla and Mercedes among the winners. Joining us now to discuss who has scooped up the honours, we have editor of Wheels Magazine Alex Inwood. Alex, car of the year, an all-electric vehicle. I must admit, I'm not all across this. Is that a first?
Hello, Tom. It's not the first time an electric car has won Wheels Car of the Year. That title went to the BMW i3 back in 2014. But this year it's our first electric SUV. So it's from Mercedes-Benz this year, and it's the Mercedes-Benz EQC, which is Merc's first electric car. And it really does move the game on, and it's a beautifully polished premium SUV.
How far does that get then? Because there's a lot of talk about whether you'd be stranded between Canberra and Sydney and Melbourne, whatever it might be. What's the range for this car?
That's right, range anxiety is still the biggest hurdle to buying an electric car, and the good news here is that ranges are getting much more expansive. So where before they were around 200, 250 Ks, the EQC will do 350 Ks easily on a single battery, where Teslas can go even further than that. Plus, when you consider that most Aussies drive 16 kilometres a day, are you really only going to be charging your car once a week, possibly once every 2 weeks? So the impost isn't going to be that great compared to a petrol-powered car.
So the cars are clearly winning awards even as well as far back as 2014. Are we seeing that flood through to consumers' choices yet? The number of electric vehicles on the road? What sort of increases are we seeing?
That's right. Look, it's still a hard sell. Australia is probably behind the rest of the world when it comes to EV adoption, but we're slowly catching up. So we buy around 2,000 fully electric cars a year here in Australia, which is very small. It's only 0.2% of our market. But it's
not catching on at all, is it?
Oh, you could argue that, but it's a trend that's certainly gathering momentum now. So where full EV sales might still be quite small, they are gathering momentum, but the sales of hybrid cars, they're really starting to take off. And one of our other finalists at Wheels Car of the Year this year was the Toyota RAV4, for example. That's a very popular and very good family SUV. And in basically every model in that range, you can option a hybrid powertrain for $2,500 extra, and we're seeing a lot of Australians do that.
Okay, so maybe first comes the hybrid, then comes the all-electric once people are a bit more confident of the charging stations and so on. The 4x4 of the year, this surprises me a little bit. Again, I'm not a rev head, I must admit, but it's a Jeep. I remember speaking to someone who'd bought a Jeep who wasn't that happy with it, but there was an advertising campaign at that time that was very annoying. Maybe that was the bigger factor. They've taken it out with the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon.
That's right. So the 4x4 of the year is the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, and it's the toughest truck you can buy off the showroom floor. So that's what really saw it take favour with the judges this year, where a lot of its competitors are starting to become more luxurious and more refined and a bit softer. The Wrangler has gone the opposite direction and stayed true to its off-road roots. It still has live axles at each end and has great wheel articulation. So if you're the kind of person that loves to get out of the city and head for the hills, this car's going to get you further than anything else, basically.
What's a live axle?
A live axle, it's probably a bit complex, but the good thing, the difference to a normal car is it gives you more wheel articulation, so the axle can move that way. So if you're going over big bumps and ruts, you're not going to lose traction and just be spinning a wheel up in the air. So you can start to climb over rocks and boulders and trees and all that kind of thing.
Actually, as you were saying that, we were seeing the Jeep do just that, so good timing. The performance car of the year, the Porsche, 15 out of 24 it's got here, the 911. You see them a lot around. It's a cliche for a reason, I guess, so they're still making good cars.
Absolutely. The Porsche 911 is a sports car icon, isn't it? It's been with us for over 50 years now. This is the 8th generation car, and it is pretty much all new. That might make a few people smile because it does look a lot like the old one and the one before that. But Porsche has built its reputation on refining and evolving the recipe of the 911, even though a lot of people say that the basic formula of the car is wrong because the engine's right at the back behind the rear axle. But Porsche's engineers have really made it work, and this is the best sports car that you can buy right now.
And there's one final award. Apparently it's the coolest car for your driveway, and it's a Tesla Model 3. What are we talking here? Is this because people can boast that they can afford a Tesla, that they're all electric? Why is it cool?
Yeah, that's one part of it. So the Which Car Style Award is what this award is, and it's the Tesla Model 3. And you mentioned that, a Tesla is another fully electric car, so that does show the trend coming through in the Australian marketplace. And this is probably the most significant Tesla yet, because you mentioned its price before. It starts at $68,000, and that makes it the most affordable Tesla we've seen yet, and also the most attainable. But that's not the only reason that it won favour with the judges. The judges are really looking for the design, the way the car looks, and the way that you interact with the car. And the Tesla Model 3 is really minimalist. It's like the kind of going into IKEA and seeing Scandinavian furniture, both on the outside and the inside. The inside is quite incredible because it doesn't have conventional...
Now, Alex.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
it doesn't have conventional dials, does it?
It basically just looks like a steering wheel and a big computer screen, and that's almost it.
That's right. So every single function is operated through that central screen, which does take a bit of getting used to, I'll admit, because we're all used to having dials in front of us that tell us our speed and other crucial pieces of information. But you've got to use that central screen to your left in the Tesla. Even opening the glove box, you have to go into the central screen there. So they really have taken minimalism to the nth degree. But once you become acclimatised to it, it does become quite intuitive.
Yeah, as long as the screen doesn't break, I guess. Alex Inwood,
Very true.
Good to get your insights on cars. Something about which I don't know a lot, which I'm sure everyone's picked up by now, but thanks for your time today.
No problem. If you want to know more, you can head to our website, of course, whichcar.com.au. That has our full reports and also the other cars that finished really strongly in Wheels Car of the Year this year.
Alex Inwood, thank you.